The signal came in at 3:47 a.m. Earth Standard Time. It wasn't particularly loud or dramatic, just a steady, repeating pattern that didn't match any known human transmission protocol. At first, the night shift at the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Nevada thought it was equipment malfunction. "Run the diagnostics again," said Bill Morgan, rubbing his tired eyes. After 15 years working the graveyard shift, he'd seen plenty of false alarms. His younger colleague, technician Jack Wilson, shook his head. "I've run it 3 times, sir. This is coming from outside, and it's coherent." Bill leaned forward, suddenly more alert. The signal's origin point placed it somewhere in the outer reaches of the solar system, the Kuiper Belt. No human vessels were scheduled to be anywhere near that region. "Call Director Phillips now." Within 6 hours, the United Space Command Headquarters was buzzing with activity. Admiral James Wells stood before a room of Earth's top scientists and military personnel, his weathered face serious under the harsh lights. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've confirmed this is a structured communication attempt from a non-human source," he announced. The room fell silent. "This isn't random cosmic noise or some echo of our own transmissions. Something is trying to talk to us." Dr. Anna Reed, the leading xenolinguistics expert, stepped forward. Small and intense, with quick, precise movements, she pulled up the signal pattern on the main screen. "It repeats with mathematical precision," she explained. "The pattern contains embedded visual data. We think it's meant to be assembled into images, like a puzzle designed to be understood by any technological species." "And what does it say?" Admiral Wells asked. Anna's eyes lit up. "We believe it's a distress call. The images show what appear to be spacecraft, many of them unable to move." Tom Miller, a stocky engineer with hands rough from years of practical work, whistled softly. "Someone's stranded out there." "That's our working theory," Anna nodded. "And they've reached out to the nearest technological civilization they could find. Us." Admiral Wells paced the room. Humanity had prepared for first contact for decades, but no one had expected aliens to arrive asking for help. "I want a response team assembled within 24 hours, he ordered. "Dr. Reed for communications, Miller for engineering assessment, and I want our best pilot." "That would be Captain Mark Davis," said his aide immediately. Admiral Wells nodded. Captain Davis had a reputation for doing the impossible, exactly what they might need. 3 days later, the exploratory vessel Horizon broke Earth orbit, carrying the small team toward the mysterious signal's origin. The journey would take weeks, even with the most advanced engines humanity had developed. In the ship's observation lounge, Tom stared out at the stars, turning a small wrench over and over in his hands. A nervous habit. "What do you think we'll find out there?" he asked. Captain Davis, lean and composed at the controls, shrugged. "Something no human has ever seen before." "That's what worries me," said Tom. Anna joined them, her tablet displaying the latest signal analysis. "Whatever we find, they're desperate. The signal's increasing in intensity and repetition. They're running out of time." As the Horizon pushed deeper into the solar system, Earth watched and waited. News of the mission had spread worldwide, uniting humanity in a way nothing else had before. For once, the petty conflicts of nations seemed small against the backdrop of what might be waiting in the darkness. Captain Davis set the ship's autopilot and looked at his small crew. "Get some rest. We'll need clear heads when we arrive." But none of them could sleep. Somewhere ahead, something was waiting, something that had crossed the stars only to become stranded on humanity's doorstep. And for reasons none of them fully understood yet, they had called on humans for help. The Horizon slowed as it entered the outer reaches of the Kuiper Belt. Through the main viewport, Captain Davis and his crew got their first visual confirmation of what the sensors had been telling them for the past hour. They were not alone. "My God," whispered Tom, pressing his palm against the cold glass. Spread before them was a fleet of ships, hundreds of them, clustered like silver fish around what appeared to be a central command vessel. Each ship had a distinct oval shape with graceful, sweeping fins that seemed more artistic than functional. They gleamed in the distant sunlight, but none were moving. "They're huge," Anna said, checking the readings. "The main vessel is nearly a mile long. Some of the smaller ones are the size of our aircraft carriers." Captain Davis adjusted their approach vector. "Let's announce ourselves before we get too close. Last thing we want is to be mistaken for a threat." Anna activated the communication array they had prepared, broadcasting a simple greeting in mathematical sequences similar to the distress calls pattern, followed by basic visual data showing the horizon and Earth. For several tense minutes, there was no response. Then the ship's communication panel lit up with incoming data. "They're responding," Anna said, fingers flying over the controls. "The computer's processing the visual components now." The main screen flickered to life, showing what appeared to be the interior of the alien vessel. Standing, or rather, hovering, before them was a being unlike anything they had imagined. The alien had a vaguely humanoid shape, but with 4 upper limbs instead of 2. Its body seemed to shimmer with a pearlescent quality, and where a human would have a face, it had what looked like a crystalline structure with pulsing light patterns. It or they appeared to be suspended in some kind of anti-gravity field. "I am Fleet Commander Lorne," came a voice through the translator program. The words were stilted but understandable. "You have answered our call for assistance. We express gratitude." Captain Davis stepped forward. "I'm Captain Mark Davis of Earth. We received your distress signal and came to help if we can. What happened to your fleet?" The aliens' lights pulsed faster. "Catastrophic failure of our interstellar drive systems. We were passing through your solar system, a routine transit, when all vessels simultaneously lost propulsion capability. Our engineers cannot determine the cause or solution." Tom leaned toward the screen. "How long have you been stranded here?" 87 of your Earth days," replied Lorne. "Our resources are sufficient for now, but with 50,000 civilian passengers, we face depletion within 3 of your months." The human crew exchanged shocked glances. 50,000 passengers. "Would you permit a small team to dock with your vessel?" Captain Davis asked. "Our engineer might be able to better understand the problem if he can examine your systems directly." Commander Lorne's lights dimmed briefly. What they would later learn was a gesture of consideration. "This is acceptable. We will prepare a docking port and atmospheric adjustment chamber. Our biology requires different conditions than yours." 4 hours later, Tom, Anna, and Captain Davis stood in an airlock wearing specialized suits. Though the aliens had assured them the atmosphere in the meeting area had been adjusted to human requirements, no one wanted to take unnecessary risks. As the airlock opened, they stepped into a vast chamber with ceilings that stretched at least 30 feet high. The walls curved organically, lined with what appeared to be living technology, systems that pulsed and flowed rather than remaining static. Commander Lorne waited, flanked by 2 other aliens with differently patterned light signatures. "Welcome to the Astral Voyager," Lorne said, making a flowing gesture with 2 of its upper limbs. "For 10,000 years, our ships have traversed the stars without incident. Now we find ourselves humbled, seeking help from a species we did not even know existed until recently." Tom looked around at the advanced technology surrounding them, far beyond anything humans had developed, and felt a knot form in his stomach. These beings had crossed interstellar space for millennia. What chance did he have of solving a problem their own engineers couldn't fix? Captain Davis seemed to sense his doubt. He placed a steady hand on Tom's shoulder and nodded reassuringly. "We'll do everything we can to help," he told Lorne. "That's what humans do." Tom Miller stared at the alien engine room with a mixture of awe and confusion. The propulsion system before him resembled nothing he'd studied on Earth. Instead of mechanical parts, the Tarvan ships used what looked like flowing liquid crystal chambers that pulsed with energy. Tubes of shimmering material connected various components in patterns that seemed to follow some unknown logic. "This is the central drive matrix," explained Engineer Krell, Lorne's chief technical officer. The alien's voice came through Tom's translator with a slight delay. It converts dark matter particles into usable energy through quantum resonance. Tom nodded, though he understood perhaps one word in three. He'd been on the alien flagship for 3 days now, trying to wrap his head around technology that might as well have been magic. And when did the failure occur exactly? Tom asked, running his scanner over a pulsing crystal node. It was instantaneous across all vessels, Krell replied. We had just adjusted our course to navigate around your outer planet's gravitational field when every ship lost power simultaneously. Tom frowned. Something about that didn't make sense. He pulled up the data the aliens had shared about their journey. You've passed through dozens of solar systems before reaching ours, he noted. Did anything like this ever happen before? Never. Krell's light patterns flickered in what Tom had come to recognize as frustration. Our systems are designed for perfect reliability. They do not fail. Back on the horizon that evening, Tom shared his findings with Captain Davis and Anna over a simple meal of rehydrated pasta. Their technology is incredible, Tom said, absently twirling his fork. But it's also rigid. They build perfect systems that work exactly as designed, with no room for adaptation or unexpected conditions. That tracks with what I'm learning about their culture, Anna added. The Tarvan value harmony and perfection above all else. Their language doesn't even have good words for concepts like improvisation or workaround. Captain Davis leaned forward. Are you saying you can't fix their drives? Tom shook his head. I'm saying I don't think their drives are actually broken. Look at this. He pulled up a holographic display showing radiation patterns near Earth's sun. Our star produces unique radiation patterns, especially in the outer system where the solar wind interacts with cosmic particles. Anna's eyes widened with understanding. You think their perfect systems weren't designed to handle our sun's specific radiation profile? Exactly, Tom said, warming to his theory. Their engines are still trying to operate as designed, but they can't adapt to the local conditions. It's like trying to run a precision watch in a magnetic field. Captain Davis considered this. So what's the solution? Tom sighed. That's where things get tricky. Their technology is so advanced that I barely understand how it works. But ironically, our less advanced technology might actually help here. We built our systems to be robust in our solar system's conditions. The next morning, Tom requested a meeting with Commander Lorne and the alien engineering team. In the grand meeting chamber of the Astral Voyager, he carefully laid out his theory. Your drives aren't malfunctioning, he explained, projecting diagrams of Earth's unique solar radiation profile. They're just not calibrated for our star's specific emissions. Your perfect system can't adapt to conditions it wasn't designed for. The alien engineers' light patterns flickered rapidly as they communicated with each other. Tom couldn't tell if they were offended or intrigued. If this is correct, Commander Lorne finally said, how do we proceed? We cannot change your star. No, Tom agreed, but we might be able to adapt your drives to work within these conditions. Earth vessels use specialized shielding and adaptive systems precisely because our technology isn't as perfect as yours. We need to build imperfection into your system, deliberately. The idea seemed to disturb the aliens. Engineer Krell's lights dimmed significantly. You propose to make our drives less efficient, less perfect. I propose to make them work, Tom said simply. Sometimes the perfect solution isn't the right one. Commander Lorne hovered silently for a long moment. Then, to everyone's surprise, the alien made a gesture Tom had never seen before, its 4 arms spread wide in what almost looked like surrender. We have tried perfection for 87 days and failed, Lorne said. We will now try the human way. Tom smiled, but inside, his stomach knotted with worry. He still had no idea if he could actually solve the problem. But unlike the Tarvan, humans were used to working with uncertainty. While Tom worked with the alien engineers, Anna found herself becoming the unofficial ambassador between the two species. The Tarvan, despite their advanced technology, were intensely curious about humans. They had encountered many civilizations during their millennia of space travel, but humans seemed to puzzle them in unique ways. "Your species contradicts itself," said Marl, a Tarvan cultural specialist whose light patterns tended toward blues and greens. "You build rigid hierarchies yet constantly question authority. You form strong bonds yet celebrate individuality. You seem chaotic." Anna smiled. They sat in what the Tarvan called a harmony chamber, a room designed for conversation and reflection. Instead of chairs, gravity fields adjusted to support their bodies in comfortable positions. "Humans contain contradictions," Anna agreed. "We don't see that as a problem, though. Our chaotic nature is also our strength." Marl's lights pulsed thoughtfully. "Perhaps this explains why you approached our problem differently. Our engineers sought the perfect solution, one that maintained our system's integrity. Your Tom Miller immediately looked for an imperfect solution that merely works." Word of the human approach had spread through the alien fleet. Each day, more Tarvan requested meetings with the human visitors. Some came out of practical necessity, engineers hoping to learn about Earth's radiation shielding technology. Others came out of pure curiosity. On the fifth day, Anna organized a small meal to share human food with interested Tarvan scientists. The aliens couldn't eat Earth food, but they enjoyed watching the humans eat while they consumed their own nutrient solutions. "You prepare food differently for each meal?" asked one Tarvan researcher, watching as Captain Davis heated a simple stew. "Usually," Davis replied. "Some humans eat the same things often, but most of us enjoy variety." "Inefficient," noted the Tarvan, "but fascinating." Anna watched these interactions with growing insight. "Your civilization values consistency and perfection," she observed. "Humans tend to value adaptability and innovation." "Yes," agreed Marl. "For the Tarvan, a perfect system needs no changes. It runs as designed for centuries. This has served us well until now." Later that day, Anna joined Tom in the makeshift workshop he had set up on the Tarvan flagship. Parts from the horizon were scattered across tables, alongside alien components that glowed with inner light. "How's it going?" she asked. Tom looked exhausted but excited. "It's the most challenging puzzle I've ever tackled. Their technology is incredible, but they've never needed to jury-rig anything. They don't even have a concept for temporary fixes. They're starting to understand our approach, though," Anna said. "They keep using the word adaptation now. I don't think it was part of their regular vocabulary before." Tom nodded. "I've noticed. Yesterday, one of their engineers actually suggested trying something that might not work perfectly. Lorne looked like he might short-circuit at the idea, but he allowed it." Commander Lorne had been watching the humans closely. Though his crystalline face couldn't show expressions, Anna had learned to read his light patterns. When Tom spoke of improvisation, Lorne's lights would pulse rapidly, suggesting intense interest or perhaps concern. On the seventh day, Lorne requested a private meeting with Anna. They met in the commander's personal chamber, a room filled with artifacts from numerous worlds. "Your species puzzles me," Lorne began. "You are technologically primitive compared to us. Yet you approach problems in ways we never considered. Your Tom speaks of good enough for now solutions that can be improved later. This concept is difficult for us." Anna considered her words carefully. Humans evolved on a constantly changing planet. We faced predators, natural disasters, climate shifts. Those who adapted survived. Those who couldn't change disappeared. And the Tarvan. I can only guess, but perhaps your world was more stable. Your species had time to perfect things slowly. Lorne's lights dimmed in what Anna now recognized as agreement. Our homeworld experiences little geological activity. Seasons barely change. We had time to seek perfection. As Anna left the meeting, she realized something important was happening beyond the engineering challenge. Two fundamentally different approaches to existence were learning from each other. The Tarvan were beginning to see value in adaptation, while the humans gained appreciation for the power of refined systems. When she shared this observation with Captain Davis that evening, he nodded thoughtfully. "Perhaps that's the real rescue mission," he said. "Not just saving their ships, but helping them think differently." 2 weeks had passed since the humans first boarded the Tarvin flagship. Progress was slow. Tom had created 3 different prototype adapters for the alien drive systems, and all 3 had failed during testing. The mood on both sides was growing tense. "Maybe we're approaching this all wrong," Tom muttered, staring at the scattered components on his workbench. His eyes were bloodshot from lack of sleep, and empty coffee packets floated in the zero-gravity corner of his makeshift workshop. Commander Lorne hovered nearby, his crystalline structure dimmed with what the humans now recognized as concern. "Our supply calculations have been adjusted," Lorne said. "We have 62 Earth days before critical resources begin to fail. After that, life support for the civilian ships will become compromised." Tom ran his hands through his hair. No pressure, then. That evening, something unexpected happened. Commander Lorne invited Tom to share a meal with him. This was unusual. Tarvin rarely ate in the presence of other species, considering nutrition a purely functional activity without social value. They sat in Lorne's private chamber. Tom picked at a rehydrated meal from Earth supplies, while Lorne absorbed energy from a glowing crystal bowl. "I have been observing you, Tom Miller," Lorne said after a period of silence. "You appear frustrated." Tom laughed softly. "That's putting it mildly. May I ask a question about humans?" When Tom nodded, Lorne continued, "How do your ships navigate the stars when your technology is so limited?" Instead of taking offense, Tom considered the question seriously. "We take small steps. Our ships can't travel between stars yet. We're still exploring our own solar system. But each mission teaches us something new, and we build on what we learn." "You accept imperfection as you progress," Lorne observed. "Exactly. We know our first try won't be perfect, but we try anyway." Lorne's lights pulsed in a pattern Tom hadn't seen before. Among the Tarvin, to launch an imperfect ship would bring great shame. We test and perfect before deploying. This is why our crisis is so difficult for us to comprehend. Our systems should not fail. Tom stared at his food, then suddenly set it aside. "That's it," he whispered. "What is it?" "We've been trying to fix your drive systems by adapting them to our solar conditions," Tom explained, his words coming faster as excitement built. "But what if instead we created a buffer system, something that doesn't change your perfect drives, but rather changes the conditions around them?" Tom grabbed his tablet and began sketching rapidly. "Look, what if we use Earth shielding technology to create a radiation filter around your drive cores? Your systems would still operate as designed, but they'd never have to interact with the problematic radiation." Lorne's lights brightened considerably. "This might work. It preserves the integrity of our systems while addressing the environmental challenge." "It's not elegant," Tom warned. "It would be like wearing a heavy coat rather than adjusting your body temperature. Less efficient, but effective." "Effectiveness is what we need now," Lorne said, making a gesture that indicated agreement. The next morning, Tom presented his new approach to the combined human-Tarvin engineering team. Instead of trying to modify the alien technology directly, they would build protective shells around each drive core using Earth radiation shielding principles combined with Tarvin power distribution networks. "The shells will filter out the specific radiation patterns that are disrupting your drives," Tom explained. "Your systems will operate in conditions that match their design parameters." Engineer Krell's lights pulsed rapidly. "This hybrid approach, it is not what we would have considered. It seems inelegant." "But will it work?" asked Captain Davis. The alien engineers conferred among themselves, their light patterns flickering in rapid communication. Finally, Krell turned back to the humans. "We believe it has a 78.3% probability of success," Krell announced. "This is sufficient to attempt." Tom smiled for the first time in days. On Earth, We call those pretty good odds. Work began immediately to build the first prototype shield. The Tarvin provided materials with properties Tom had never imagined, while he contributed designs that could adapt to changing conditions. It was truly a hybrid creation, neither human nor Tarvin, but something new. As Tom watched the first components come together, he realized that this breakthrough wasn't just about the technology. It represented something more significant. Two fundamentally different approaches to problem-solving, finding a middle ground. The perfect and the adaptable, working together. The radiation shield prototype was nearly complete. After 3 days of non-stop work, Tom and the Tarvin engineers had created a device that could theoretically protect the alien drive systems from the solar radiation that had stranded them. Now came the crucial test. "We'll install it on the smallest scout vessel first," Commander Lorne announced. "If successful, we can begin manufacturing shields for the larger ships." Installation took 12 hours. Tom worked alongside Krell, carefully integrating the protective shell around the scout ship's crystalline drive core. The hybrid technology looked strange. Earth metals and composites intertwined with flowing Tarvin bioluminescent materials. "It's not pretty," Tom admitted, wiping sweat from his forehead. "But it should work." Krell's lights pulsed in what Tom now recognized as the Tarvin equivalent of a shrug. Function before form. A new concept for us, but appropriate for the situation. They were making final adjustments when an alarm sounded throughout the fleet. Captain Davis rushed into the engine room, his face grim. "We've got a problem," he announced. "Earth's deep space monitoring just sent a warning. A massive solar flare is heading our way, one of the biggest recorded in decades." Tom's stomach dropped. "When?" 6 hours, maybe less." Commander Lorne's lights dimmed dramatically. "Our outer hulls were not designed to withstand such radiation. The civilian ships especially will be vulnerable." Anna, who had been helping with translations, looked pale. "What happens if the flare hits the fleet?" "Systems damage. Possibly life support failures," Lorne replied. "Our medical facilities cannot handle mass casualties." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. 50,000 civilian Tarvin were at risk. "We need to deploy protective measures," Captain Davis said, breaking the silence. "Can we use similar shielding technology to protect the outer hulls?" Tom ran calculations quickly. Not enough time to shield every ship. But he paused, thinking rapidly. What if we created a fleet-wide shield instead? Position satellites in a perimeter formation to create a radiation umbrella over the entire fleet. Krell's lights brightened. "The concept is sound, but deployment would be dangerous. The satellites would need to be positioned precisely during the initial wave of the flare." "I'll do it," Captain Davis said immediately. "The Horizon is equipped for spacewalks and external operations." "That's too risky," Anna protested. "You'd be exposed to the flare's leading edge." "Do we have another option?" Davis asked quietly. No one answered. Within the hour, the Horizon was loaded with 20 modified shield generators. Each needed to be positioned at specific coordinates around the fleet to create an interconnected protective field. Captain Davis would need to pilot the ship in a precise pattern while Tom deployed each generator. As they prepared to depart, Commander Lorne approached them in the docking bay. "Your willingness to risk yourselves for strangers." The alien's voice came through the translator with unusual emotion. "This is not a concept we fully understood before meeting humans." Davis nodded. "It's what we do." The mission began smoothly. The first 15 generators were deployed according to plan, each activating successfully to create sections of the protective field. But as they approached the 16th position, the Horizon's sensors detected the leading edge of the solar flare, arriving earlier than predicted. "We've got maybe 20 minutes before the main wave hits," Tom warned, checking readings from the ship's science station. "Not enough time to finish the pattern and return to safety," Davis replied grimly. "New plan. I'll take the Horizon to drop the remaining generators while you use the escape pod to return to the Tarvin flagship." "That's suicide," Tom protested. It's necessary, Davis countered. Someone needs to report back on whether this worked. Besides, he managed a small smile. My suit has better radiation protection than yours. Before Tom could argue further, alarms blared as the first radiation waves struck the horizon's shields. Time had run out. The next 30 minutes were chaos. Tom found himself in the escape pod, watching through the viewport as the horizon darted between deployment points, its hull glowing from radiation exposure. Captain Davis's voice came through the comm system, growing more strained with each update. 19th generator deployed. Shields at 30%. Final position approaching. From the Tarvin flagship, they watched the protective field flicker to life, expanding to cover the fleet just as the main wave of the solar flare arrived. The horizon, caught outside the protection zone, tumbled with systems failing. Against all expectations, the emergency thrusters fired one last time, pushing the crippled ship back toward the fleet. The Tarvin launched rescue vessels immediately. As medical teams worked to stabilize the radiation-exposed captain, Commander Lorne stood watching, his crystalline structure pulsing with a new pattern, one that Anna later explained signified profound respect. He risked everything for people not his own, Lorne said quietly. We have much to learn from humans. 3 days after the solar flare, Captain Davis finally woke in the Tarvin medical bay. The alien healing technology had repaired most of the radiation damage, though the doctors warned he would need time to fully recover. Tom and Anna were at his bedside when he opened his eyes. "Did it work?" were his first words. Tom smiled. Like a charm, the shield held. Not a single Tarvin ship was damaged. And the dry fix? Even better news, Tom said. The prototype shield worked perfectly. We've been mass-producing them for the past 2 days. Half the fleet already has them installed. Captain Davis tried to sit up but winced. Anna gently pushed him back down. Take it easy. Commander Lorne says you've earned a rest. Speaking of the alien leader, the door to the medical bay slid open with a soft hum, and Lorne floated in. His crystalline structure seemed brighter than usual, the light patterns more vibrant. Captain Davis, Lorne's translated voice filled the room. Your actions have saved many lives. The Tarvin do not forget such things. Davis shrugged, embarrassed by the praise. Anyone would have done the same. No, Lorne replied simply. They would not. This is what we have learned from humans. Many species would have passed by our distress call. Others might have helped from a safe distance. Only humans would risk their lives for strangers. 1 week later, the installation of dry shields was complete. The entire Tarvin fleet hummed with renewed energy as systems came back online. Test flights of smaller vessels confirmed that Tom's hybrid solution worked. The ships could now navigate Earth's solar system without dry failure. The day before the fleet's planned departure, Commander Lorne called for a formal gathering. All humans were invited aboard the command ship's Grand Assembly Hall, a vast chamber now filled with thousands of Tarvin representatives from across the fleet. Lorne hovered on a central platform, his 4 arms extended in a ceremonial posture. The humans stood nearby, still somewhat awed by the sea of crystalline beings before them. For 10,000 years, Lorne began, his voice translated and amplified throughout the hall. The Tarvin have traveled the stars. We have encountered 417 intelligent species. We have established trade with 73. We have formed alliances with 22. The hall was completely silent. In all this time, we have considered ourselves teachers, bringing our perfect knowledge to younger races. Today, we acknowledge that we have been taught. A murmur ran through the assembly, a strange harmonic sound as thousands of Tarvin vibrated their crystalline structures. Humanity has shown us that perfection can be a limitation. Adaptation and improvisation, concepts we once dismissed, saved our fleet when perfection failed us. Lorne turned toward the small group of humans. The Tarvin Council has reached a unanimous decision. We formally request an alliance with Earth, not as teachers, but as equals. More, we will sponsor Earth's membership in the Galactic Concord, a position we have never before offered to a species at your stage of development. Captain Davis, still weak but standing tall, stepped forward. We're honored, Commander. Though I should warn you, we have much to learn about interstellar relations. And we have much to learn from you, Lorne countered. Our civilizations complement each other. Your creativity balances our stability. Your willingness to embrace risk challenges our caution. The next day, as the massive alien fleet prepared to depart, they left behind representatives to establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth. They also gifted humanity with technology, not their most advanced systems, but knowledge that would accelerate Earth's development by decades. On the observation deck of the space station that had been hastily constructed to serve as an embassy, Tom, Anna, and Captain Davis watched the first ships begin to move. They could have given us weapons or faster-than-light drives, Anna noted. Instead, they gave us medical technology and sustainable energy systems. They're testing us, Captain Davis said, seeing what we'll do with power before they give us more. Tom smiled as the great ships rose like silver fish, swimming upward into the black sea of space. Smart move. I'd do the same. As the last ship disappeared into the distance, a message came through on all Earth frequencies. Commander Lorne's final words to humanity. You called yourselves the rescuers, but perhaps it was we who were saved in ways beyond the physical. Until we meet again at the Concord, remember this: the universe needs both perfection and adaptation. Together, we will build something greater than either alone.